Welcome to Celestial Insights, a weekly podcast that brings the stars down to earth. I'm your host, astrologer, coach, and intuitive Celeste Brooks. My purpose is to provide practical, unique, and insightful guidance to help you navigate the energies of the week like a boss. Hello, this is Celeste of Astrology by Celeste, and on this episode, I will discuss the astrology for the week of March 29th, 2026. My transits class at Kepler College begins on April 4th, and over 5 weeks, you'll develop the skills to analyze astrological cycles and forecast key life events with confidence. In true Mercury retrograde fashion, the time was wrong on the website for a bit, but it's Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific time. You'll learn all about transits, retrograde cycles, lunations, eclipses, and more. And by the end, you'll learn how to create a year-ahead forecast by integrating the techniques covered. Space is limited, so if you're interested, sign up today. The link is in the show notes or on my website on my events page. You go to astrologybyceleste.com. The theme of this week is the Manchurian candidate, and there are 3 big things I want you to think about as you navigate this week. The first is that Juno, the asteroid of partnership, moves into Aquarius on March 29th, and it's going to stay in that sign through January 2027. Juno was Zeus's wife, the aggrieved partner, the one who was constantly dealing with betrayal. So when Juno is activated, there's always themes around commitment, loyalty, and what we tolerate in relationships. And she moves from 29 degrees of Capricorn, a sign of hierarchies, governments, big business, traditions, into the air sign of Aquarius. Air's job is to communicate and connect. Aquarius is the group. It's the organization. So we're shifting from traditional partnership into something that's more collective. This can look like people partnering with friends instead of lovers, living together, sharing resources, especially for the future. I keep seeing stories about communities of older women choosing to live together and support each other and not doing it the old way anymore and building something sustainable. And as soon as Juno enters Aquarius, she's moving towards a conjunction with Pluto. So there's something heavy and deeply transformative about what partnership means. And we're going to see this on a global level too. Alliances, organizations like NATO and the UN have these agreements that are being tested. Themes of who are you actually aligned with? Who did you consent to partner with? And how do you react when decisions are made without you? We're seeing this playing out on the world stage. The United States and Israel attacked Iran. And the other countries that the president of the United States is trying to get to go along and put their people on the line are saying, no, we weren't consulted and we're not participating. This is very Juno and Aquarius, the group renegotiating the terms of engagement. And remember, Zeus cheated, so there's this theme of betrayal and broken agreements, and people waking up to where trust has been violated. We may be seeing MAGAs participating in the No King's Day. They may feel like the aggrieved and cheated on partner. Symbolically, Juno brings in the peacock, the cuckoo, and the pomegranate. And with the conjunction to Pluto, there's something about something that had been hidden beneath the surface becoming visible. So look at your chart. Where do you have Aquarius? Where is your Juno? And you may start to see partnerships forming or start thinking about partnering with people in non-traditional ways. Aquarius is a sign of the future, thinking out of the box. This Aries season has so much fire, and if you're ready to turn it into real momentum, join the Cosmic Fire Up Challenge. It's 5 weeks of astrology with me and movement with Charla Goodnight. It's simple, energizing, and the investment is just $30. Check the link in the show notes. We start April 9th. The next thing I want to make you aware of is that Venus moves into Taurus from March 30th through April 23rd. This is Venus's home. She's coming back to her throne. So she'll leave Aries, moving through that 29th degree of crisis and decay in the sign of her detriment, where she's in exile. She cannot do what she does with ease. So really notice the stories you're seeing when she's on that threshold, moving out of Aries, a sign of war, conflict, and survival, into Taurus, her throne, the place of value, money, and resources. There could be a story about how war translates into wealth. And we know Venus rules partnerships, money, love, beauty, jewelry, resources. Think about who is benefiting and enriched because of this conflict. As I'm recording this on March 24th, we're already seeing examples. Volkswagen announced that they're shifting from producing cars into missile defense systems for Israel. And this feels very much like Venus finishing up her journey through the sign of Aries and then coming in onto her throne. Destruction is being turned into profit, a conflict into opportunity for some people. Taurus is fixed earth, so things become tangible. There's going to be a focus on finances, the physical world, comfort, and stability, the pleasures of the body, connection, touch, the things that make us feel safe. Taurus also has a shadow. There can be possessiveness, hoarding, not wanting to let go, holding tightly onto people, money, or resources out of fear. I'm thinking about the Four of Pentacles card in the tarot, where this man is holding onto a coin for dear life. And as soon as Venus enters Taurus, she comes into tension. She squares Juno on one side. Juno will be at 0 degrees, so this is almost immediate. And then in a few days, Pluto and Aquarius on the other. So there's a T-square energy, which is tension. So Venus is asking, what do I have? What do I value? And Juno's, who am I partnered with? What are the agreements? And Pluto is applying pressure that's coming collectively, transforming societies, exposing power dynamics. So you may be having conversations about sharing resources, living situations, community support. Maybe you go to a local meeting where people are talking about how can they protect their community from these data centers that are harming people's health, or ICE facilities that are doing things that are obscene to people. How do we come together when the pressure is on? And when there's a T-square, where you have two planets opposite each other and they both square another. So we have Juno, the asteroid, opposite Pluto, and they're both squaring Venus, putting the squeeze on the resources, and the release is always opposite the apex of the T-square. So Venus in Taurus is the apex and the release is in Scorpio. So there is a need to merge resources, to share, to pool, to move through this collectively. On a global level, there's struggle over money, access, control, corruption. Deals are being made behind the scenes. Wealth is being concentrated and redistributed. And when planets meet Pluto, it brings themes that we weren't aware of out into our attention. So we'll be learning more and more about how war is translating into wealth for a few. Be prepared for revelations about money and power and who is really benefiting. The last thing I want to make you aware of is that we have a full moon at 12 degrees of Libra on April 1st. And yes, that's April Fool's Day. Libra is an air sign. It's cardinal initiating energy. It rules relationships, diplomacy, how we connect and communicate together, how we find balance with one another. This is more of the one-on-one relationships. It's also ruled by Venus like Taurus, but this is the social side of Venus. Libra on the high road is elegant, diplomatic, cooperative, persuasive. It's the sign of negotiation and finding win-win solutions. This is where we get lawyers, mediators, diplomats, and people who really know how to read a room and then respond with finesse. There's wit here, charm, and the ability to keep things balanced and civilized. Like all signs, Libra has a shadow. It can be overly concerned with appearances, so focused on how things look on the surface, superficial, indecisive, people-pleasing, and passive-aggressive behavior are Libra shadows, gossipy behavior. And sometimes instead of confronting things directly, Libra will try to move around people behind the scenes, get other people to fight their battles for them, gathering allies. It's Mean Girls and Heathers type of dynamics. Those two movies really fit this energy, especially when there's a Scorpio tie-in. People with Libra placements like Libra suns or Mercuries or Venuses often have a Scorpio placement. Libra can talk out of both sides of its mouth, and it's represented by the scale, the only sign that doesn't have a heart. It's a metal scale. Now, at every full moon, there's an opposition. So the moon, which rules the people, the public, and their public mood, is in the sign of Libra. And the sun, which is in opposite it, in Aries. And the sun is exalted in Aries, like lifted up with a special seat on the table. The leader, the individual, the warrior. And Aries is the sign of war. Libra, the sign of peace. There's clear tension here between action taken at the top and how it's being received and processed and responded to by the collective. And the Libra moon is reporting into Venus and Taurus, who's under pressure from that coming square with Pluto. So voices are getting louder around resources. People are going to the gas station and seeing what's happening in the grocery store, standing in line for hours upon end in airports. This may be ending as Venus moves into Taurus. Hopefully the airport situation will be resolved soon. And air signs are yang signs, so it's not quiet. People are speaking out with passion and persuasiveness. And with Saturn and Neptune in Aries, the fog, Neptune is thinning. Saturn brings reality. The propaganda is not landing in the same way. People are starting to see through it. One of the Mercury retrograde things that happened was in one speech, the president said, like, people are getting angrier and angrier about what is going on. Yesterday was a No Kings March. And so there's already energy about people saying enough is enough. There was a lot of intensity yesterday. Hopefully the No Kings marches were safe. But yesterday was a huge transit where Saturn was sextile Pluto. Hopefully it was about putting limits on leadership by a powerful group. But the people are pushing back on leadership that feels unilateral, unchecked, and completely out of alignment with the will of the people. Libra wants balance, fairness, and justice. People are no longer willing to go along to get along just to keep the peace. And this full moon is illuminating the relationship between power and the people. In the U.S. Sibley chart, the midheaven is in Libra, which starts the 10th house. And that's the executive branch. And my question is, will Congress or the cabinet pull down the president who would be king off his throne before he destroys not just the country, the environment, the whole Middle East, the world? The moon phase family of this 27-month cycle began with a solar eclipse where the sun and moon were both at 10 Libra on October 2nd of 2024. This is an important moon phase family for the Vice President J.D. Vance. The new moon was sextile his sun, and on October 1st, he had the vice presidential debate with Tim Walz. And at that time, he talked about how there were going to be no new wars and an America First approach. The first quarter moon was July 2nd of 2025. The sun in Cancer, the moon in Libra, both at 11 degrees. And the vice president was communicating his America First approach again around that time. And now we have the full moon with the sun in Aries, the moon in Libra, both at 12 degrees on April 1st, 2026. What will the vice president be saying? Well, so far he said he's not planning to run for president anymore, that he's taking a step back due to his family. So is the direction that the administration going? He knows that his goose is cooked and he's not going to run. Is that why? Or is there some other reason behind it? But I'll be paying attention to see if we hear anything else about him and if he gets a promotion. The last quarter moon with the sun in Capricorn, the moon in Libra, both at 9 degrees on December 30th, 2026. This week's theme, The Manchurian Candidate, comes from a novel by Richard Condon. It was published in 1959 and made into 2 films, first starring Frank Sinatra back in the 60s and then Denzel Washington. The premise is chilling. It's about a soldier who's captured in war, brainwashed, and then turned into an unwitting assassin. He comes back home appearing normal, even heroic, but he's actually been programmed to carry out actions on command. The Manchurian Candidate is a symbol of someone who appears to be acting independently, but is actually being controlled, influenced, and directed by forces behind the scenes. And Mercury's direct now, going over old ground, revisiting information, reevaluating narratives. And as it does, things are coming up. Propaganda, deception, secrets. We're seeing what we were told versus what is really true. And with Neptune in the mix, there's been fog, confusion, stories that don't add up. And with Pluto in Aquarius, we're looking at power in networks, systems, groups, hidden influences. We know we're talking about the Epstein files. We know many people have been concerned for many years about the influence of Russia and what kind of compromise they have on the current president. Marco Rubio said that the United States was pressured by Israel essentially to go into this war. Joe Kent, the conscientious objector from counterintelligence, said the same thing. And Israel is a Libra rising with Neptune at 10 degrees of Libra. So this full moon will definitely be shedding light on secrets related to Israel because Neptune falls in their 12th house of secrets. The ultimate question is who is really in control and what's going to happen when that becomes visible. If you're an astrologer ready to deepen your skills and grow your practice, I'm mentoring a small group through the Mentorship Program with the Organization of Professional Astrology. We'll meet monthly for 6 months to explore astrology practices, consultation skills, and building a sustainable business. If you'd like guidance, community, and support from someone who's walked the path, learn more at the link in the show notes. On Sunday, the word of the day is defense. We have a gibbous moon at 23 degrees of Leo at 1:05 a.m. Pacific time. Leo is a fire sign. It is dramatic, proud, ambitious, creative, dignified, magnetic. Leo loves to put on a show. And the gibbous moon is pregnant with possibilities. It's like the moon looks like it's bursting at the seams. It's a last phase before the full moon, and the light is waxing. The asteroid Juno moves into the sign of Aquarius at 1:49 a.m. What group is coming together to partner? And the Aries sun is quincunx the south node in Virgo at 8 degrees. The group is coming together to partner, and then a sun figure does something that causes an adjustment, or they're held accountable for something, and there's themes of them going down the drain. And then the moon in Leo squares Uranus in Taurus at 28 degrees. So there's some kind of disruption and upheaval related to Leo topics. It can be exciting or surprising. Now, shadow Leo energy is childish, overbearing, cruel and boastful, autocratic, manipulative. And then the moon will move into Virgo at 12:33 p.m. Pacific time. Virgo holds people accountable. Its job is to bring order to chaos. So if you have small children and one of them started to act wild and do things that were totally disruptive under the Leo moon, what you can do is be putting them in timeout or sending them to their room or telling them about the consequences when the moon enters Virgo. Things get serious. Great time for decluttering, cleaning, systematizing, and organizing things. On Monday, the word of the day is luxury. The moon meets the south node at 8 degrees of Virgo. So people are being sent down the drain, falling into a mosh pit, or sorting through things to hold somebody accountable or being held accountable. Somebody's looking through their paperwork, maybe trying to get all their receipts together for their taxes. And then Venus moves into Taurus at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And there's something about tensions among a group about dues or privileges. The song First Class was playing in my head. So maybe there's something that's coming to light about the Lolita Express. Yeah, the moon meeting the south node in Virgo, the sign of the maiden. This could be something coming to light about this ongoing story. And Venus, what does she do? As soon as she enters Taurus, she starts squaring Juno in Aquarius. Something about a group, and maybe there's partnership energy. And the moon then opposes Mercury at 12 degrees of Pisces. And if you look at the U.S. chart, it's a Sagittarius 12-degree rising. So there's something about tension, about ninth house topics, foreign affairs. There's some big travel story, I think, coming up on this day about a luxury liner. On Tuesday, the word of the day is LEVY. And when I wrote this, I was thinking like membership payments, but the moon, the Virgo moon, meets the Neptune of the United States in the ninth house and opposes Mars and Pisces at 22 degrees. Hopefully with all this water, people being against rushing water, there's no kind of collapse of dams or levees. As I'm recording this, Hawaii, Oahu has faced devastating floods, and there was a risk of a dam collapsing. The Libra moon begins at 7:50 a.m. Pacific time. This could be someone gets real critical with the Virgo moon opposite Mars, big fight, and then the moon moves into Libra and they want to apologize, bring back connection, balance, and harmony at 7:50 p.m. Pacific time. On Wednesday, the word of the day is POLITICO. And the Libra moon will first oppose Neptune at 2 degrees, then Saturn at 5 degrees of Libra. So what is coming to your conscious attention about deception, Neptune, illusions, or creativity? This could be amazing for an artist that could be like see something that really gets their imagination running. And then when the moon opposes Saturn, like they're ready to put it into action. But it also can be about being aware of deception, and then reality sets in and anger. The full moon will be at 7:11 p.m. Pacific time. Full moons are a time of revelation. The sun and the moon are opposite each other. All is revealed. Look to where it is on your natal chart. What house do you have Libra? There's going to be an emotional response there. What house do you have the sun in Aries transiting through? There's going to be a spotlight there. So what is spotlighted that leads to an emotional response? It's likely something about relationship. It's because Aries is how we take action for the self, and Libra is about partnering. And how can you balance the two? On Thursday, the word of the day is enthusiasm. The Libra moon squares Jupiter and Cancer, both at 15 degrees of the respective signs. Jupiter just makes everything bigger, so there could be some really nice connection between a couple holding hands. The truth could also come out. The moon then opposes Chiron and Aries. Chiron wounds and heals, so hopefully there will be some healing at this time. On Friday, the word of the day is disclosure. Mercury and Pisces trines Jupiter and Cancer. They're both at 15 degrees of the respective signs. So Mercury communicates. Jupiter is about the big picture. This could be someone gives the best speech of their life, or you write in your journal, your true emotions just come out and start flowing. Some artist is probably painting their best painting. Someone is writing a novel that's so beautiful. It's incredible. A speechwriter is putting together a passionate, persuasive speech, but Mercury is treading over that old ground. Something is coming out about Jupiter and Cancer type figures, the exalted, the wealthy, and them doing things they know good and well they shouldn't be doing, because the Scorpio moon begins at 5:10 a.m. Pacific time. We could take a trip down to hell and things are revealed. Secrets about corruption, sexual pressure, mafiosa tactics, that sort of things will come to light. Scorpio is the sign of death and rebirth. And the moon in Scorpio will oppose Venus and Taurus, both at 5 degrees. Then the moon squares Pluto, and then Venus squares Pluto. So there's all this stuff is happening at 5 degrees of fixed signs. So if you have anything in Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, or Leo, there's likely a story in your life. And maybe take a beat before you get dramatic. Somebody is opening up a credit card statement and seeing that their spouse spent a bunch of money at a strip club, Pluto and Aquarius, or went out with their friends and charged up a bunch of stuff somewhere. This is what is going to be happening in places, or bought someone else that's not in the relationship a piece of jewelry or something like that. And actually, the movie Disclosure with Demi Moore is a really good movie, and Michael Douglas. That really fits this energy where there's like this power game between this boss and somebody who works for him. On Saturday, the word of the day is slip. The Scorpio moon is sexy quadrate Mars in Pisces. With Scorpio, there's themes of not being able to see things or something being obscured and like slipping on a puddle or something like that you don't see. So be very careful in the bathroom. Also, a slip of the tongue with Mercury and Pisces. Someone could have gotten a little intoxicated in the trine to Jupiter. Let the truth slip out. This could also be somebody putting on a beautiful slip for sexy time. Scorpio energy is very sexy. So I hope this week treats you well. That's it for this week's episode. Feel free to email me at celeste@astrologybyceleste.com with any astrology and action stories. Take care, and I'll catch you next week. Thank you for listening to Celestial Insights. To learn more about my work, please visit my website, astrologybyceleste.com, where I offer personal readings, horary consultations, cosmic coaching, group events, and classes to help guide people to higher levels of fulfillment. You can also find me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook at Astrology by Celeste. If you enjoyed Celestial Insights, please help others find the show. Follow, rate it 5 stars, or write a nice review. I would so appreciate it. I'm astrologer, coach, and intuitive Celeste Brooks, and I'll be back next week.